We had every class together last year. And this is hard.
Friends and family are mourning the loss of a teenage girl a day after she was shot and killed at a sleepover. State police have identified the man killed in a crash on the interstate today, what they believe caused the wreck. Storms hit the Bluegrass.
You can't even see the road.
And northern Kentucky. We have flooding video. You have to see to believe.
This is WKYT News at 11.
Storms still in Kentucky. Thanks for staying up with WKYT. I'm Kristen Kennedy. We've seen a lot of flash flooding and heavy rain throughout central Kentucky today. We begin tonight with WKYT meteorologist Mike Linden and the no-wait weather forecast.
Kristen, we have certainly see things calm down in Kentucky. It all started around 3 o'clock this afternoon in Fayette County, and from there, it just expanded from the north to the south. We just saw it kind of like a wave, really, like dropping a rock in a pond. Just waves of thunderstorms go away from Lexington and outward. Things, though, have calmed down. Of course, the sun going down, it takes a large part of these storms' energy away from it. But we are still seeing some heavy rain near the Cincinnati area, where it was declared earlier this evening a flash flood emergency, with most spots on average in northern Kentucky and into Cincinnati between 3 to near 5 inches of rain, and then some spots reporting locally higher numbers. That is incredibly significant for the area, and that is not, it doesn't even hold a candle to what Lexington and what central Kentucky saw today, but certainly something worth pointing out. Hopefully the folks in the Buckeye State are doing okay into this evening. In Kentucky, it's mainly this area here, northeastern Kentucky on the way to Rowan County, the Mount Olivet and Robertson County area still dealing with some heavy downpours. Things again are calming down. Coming up, though, in about 10 minutes, I'll break down whether or not these storms will return tomorrow, because the heat and humidity sure will. And it looks like those storms might follow, too. I'll break it all down and take you hour by hour, coming up in about 10 minutes.
A Scott County community is remembering the life and mourning the loss of a teenager. 15-year-old Morgan Penn died yesterday morning. Troopers say she was sleeping over at a home and stamping ground when bullets fired outside the house struck and killed her. 27-year-old Michael Davidson is charged with her murder. Caitlin Sentner attended a vigil for Penn. She has our top story at 11.
We just started high school. It's kind of rough. I didn't really make a lot of new friends.
One friend Lily Southworth could count on was Morgan Penn.
She told me things, and I told her things about what I'd gone through.
The 15-year-old now gone after police say she was murdered.
My mom told me yesterday, like, I had just woken up, kind of stared at her. I didn't understand. All day yesterday, I just kind of talked to some friends and tried to understand what was going on, and then I got like 3 hours of sleep. I can't sleep. I feel like I'm gonna puke every time I eat.
The Stamping Ground community packed a church Sunday evening, many with questions they may never find answers to. There were tears shed, but among the tears, Southworth was able to laugh, remembering a good time with her pal.
One time we were in our social studies class, and the teachers had like this buffet going on, and so she was like, "Lily, you get the soup, I'll get the chicken." I just really hope she is. I hope she's with God. I hope she's eating the best fried chicken she can ever find. I just hope she's happy.
Friends and family alike trying to find solace.
We don't understand it ourselves, let alone a child. They're kids. For them to try to understand and cope with something like this is obviously very hard. Just the amount of people that have came out here and shown their support, it truly amazes me.
In closing, pastors asked everyone to remember the good times.
And ask God to bring you comfort. Remember the good times. Remember her smile. Remember her laugh.
In Scott County, Caitlin Sentner, WKYT.
A visitation is scheduled for Wednesday. Funeral services are Thursday morning at Tucker, Yoakum, and Wilson Funeral Home. We have new information tonight about a deadly crash in Madison County. State police have identified the man killed in the wreck on Interstate 75. Troopers say 67-year-old David McDowell from Louisville was riding a motorcycle involved in a chain reaction crash near mile marker 87. Troopers say McDowell was heading south with another rider when they came up behind traffic that was slowing down. McDowell hit the back of a car. Troopers were working at least 2 other crashes in the area. They think traffic slowed down because of those crashes. No other injuries were reported. State police say one of the drivers told them it was raining when the wreck happened. We are tracking some very high water in northern Kentucky and Cincinnati tonight. The area got about 3 to 5 inches of rain. Some viewers sent us photos of submerged cars. Interstate 71 shut down for about an hour because of the high water. Duke Energy reports nearly 12,000 customers are without power. Storms in Lexington today left behind a trail of damage. We got reports of high water and trees down on Lexington's north side. WKYT's Sabira Rayford takes a look at one of the harder hit areas, Masterson Station.
We was driving and it was like, rain was like, you couldn't even see the road, like we had to pull over.
Alexia Wilson says heavy rain caused problems for drivers near Masterston Station.
It was big hail hitting the car. It almost felt like it was going to break the window.
She says they pulled into a neighborhood just off Citation Boulevard, but the problems didn't stop there.
Could barely get through here to where they blocking it off right there.
Lexington police say they blocked off the area because the heavy rain left standing water. Some people rerouted their trip while others sped right on through.
I almost wanted to go around, but we just came on through because we saw the cars make it through.
Most storm damage we saw was north and northwest of downtown Lexington, though WKYT weather watchers reported 30 to 40 mile-per-hour winds and small amounts of hail across the bluegrass. In Lexington, Sabira Rayford, WKYT.
There are still a few homes around Lexington that are without power tonight. Some tree limbs landed on power lines on Hume Road. That's just off Winchester Road. The limbs knocked out power to a few KU customers there. And to the west, dozens are without power in Franklin County. Crews have been working to restore electricity to people on US 460. Kentucky Utilities does not know when power will return there. South Florida is bracing for possible flooding. A system that could become a tropical storm is threatening the region with heavy rain. The storm could hit the same Miami area struggling to contain the Zika virus. Health leaders there confirmed 42 people have contracted the virus from local mosquitoes. Those mosquitoes can breed in very tiny amounts of water. Health leaders want to make sure pooling water from floods doesn't turn into a widespread breeding ground for mosquitoes. Property owners face a $1,000 fine for not getting rid of pools of standing water. Investigators are in Russell County looking into the death of a Louisville man. The Russell County coroner and the State Department of Fish and Wildlife are conducting the investigation. The coroner says a 64-year-old from Louisville fell into the water at the Lake Cumberland State Dock yesterday and hit a boat propeller. He died at the lake. We do not have the name of the victim. Louisville police are investigating what they're calling a tragic accident. They say a boy shot and killed his 12-year-old brother at their home in the Penway neighborhood. Police haven't released any details about what led up to the shooting. Neighbors were emotional hearing about the incident.
Nice kid. He was a nice kid. All of her children. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. Hi, Miss Sandy. Yeah. And the mother, she worked all the time. She was a good mom.
Louisville's homicide unit is trying to figure out how the boy got the gun. Right now, no charges have been filed. An autopsy is scheduled for Monday. The 2 nuns murdered in Mississippi this week were remembered during a wake tonight. Mourners paid their respects at St. Thomas Church in Lexington, Mississippi. Police found Sister Paula Merrill and Sister Margaret Held earlier this week, dead in the home they shared in Durant, Mississippi. Merrill was a member of the Sisters of Charity of Nazareth, based in Nelson County, Kentucky. She will be buried near the congregation's headquarters. Merrill's sister says the staff and the patients will miss both of those women.
Her patients absolutely loved her. She was so good to them, and they went, she and Sister Margaret both went so far above and beyond anything that could be expected of a normal human being.
Rodney Earl Sanders is charged with 2 counts of capital murder. Investigators say he confessed to killing the nuns. New at 11, federal investigators are looking into a computer virus affecting some hospitals in eastern Kentucky and West Virginia. An ARH spokesperson says they are dealing with technical complications. Right now, the ARH system of hospitals is operating under their emergency operations plan. And that ARH spokesperson is telling us that they say the computer virus has limited their use of electronic web-based services and electronic communications. All of their computers are now shut down to avoid spreading the virus. Patients who plan on visiting a physician are asked to bring all prescribed medications to appointments until further notice. Still ahead on WKYT, a Kentucky airport is expanding. We'll let you know what new flights the Bowling Green Warren County Regional Airport is adding. And Jordan Smith is coming back to the Bluegrass. We'll tell you where you can watch him perform.
Now, your hour-by-hour forecast with Mike Linden.
Almost done with the final weekend of August, and what a weekend it was. Hot, humid, and stormy, all of those underlined because we saw quite a bit of each of those conditions. As we work our way into the late evening hours here, we are still seeing more storms out there. Things have calmed down, though, but can't say the same for the Cincinnati area, still under a flash flood emergency for the city of Cincinnati in Ohio. Northern Kentucky as well, picking up about 3 inches of rain in 2 hours starting at 3 o'clock, and some spots in Cincinnati upwards of 5 inches of rain. In Kentucky, Nicholas County and Robertson counties now really calming down. Notice how those heavier downpours shrink considerably to just some regular old showers as we work our way through the evening hours here. It looks like Kentucky is almost all but done with the active weather this evening. Although it returns tomorrow, even though low pressure is still far to our north, that hot, humid air from the Gulf of Mexico continues to work its way northward into Kentucky, and that is the fuel necessary for these thunderstorms to really get going. Now, as we work our way into the middle of our day tomorrow, once again, we are looking at some pretty intense heat out there. Your thermometers are going to show you 90, 91, but it's going to feel more like this, the upper 90s and low triple digits again. Not to mention that as we head into Tuesday, if you're really hoping for a break, you're going to really have to hope a little while longer. We are once again looking at some pretty impressive numbers out there in the upper 80s and lower 90s. The models even might be undercooking that a little bit. Moving through our evening hours into tomorrow, as far as active weather goes, this is something that the models have really struggled with. Where to place the moisture. There's just so much of it that when it comes to getting those individual thunderstorms popping up, it's really having a tough time placing where they will be. One thing we know for sure as we head into tomorrow afternoon is there will be plenty of moisture out there. Once again, we are looking at a very similar pattern, a very similar setup to what we have dealt with both Saturday, Sunday, and now as we head into Monday, hot, humid, and more than likely stormy again. Models are picking up on the placement of some precipitation. It's just a matter of intensity, and there is plenty of humidity out there to go around. And remember, humidity, just a good way of saying moisture. Tuesday, things are going to calm down a little bit, but still the chance for some pop-up storms. Nothing compared to what's going on in the Caribbean. We now have a name and now have a tropical depression. It's number 9. Still isn't a tropical storm, therefore doesn't have a name. Has a number, though, and more than likely will become a tropical storm as we head into the start of the work week. Computer models, most of them are agreeing that this tropical depression, if it does upgrade to a tropical storm, will swing eastward back into Florida. So that is something that we will have to watch out for here the next few days, and that is something that has been relatively quiet all season long as far as tropical storm development and potentially even taking it a step further. But here in Kentucky, Kristen, we are concerned with the storms and the heat of our own. We are still looking at more of it tomorrow and Tuesday, rather. But there is an end in sight. Look at Thursday, Friday. More mild in the mid to low 80s and some sunshine. We'll take it. Just got to stay positive until then.
So as soon as we get into September, we'll get a break.
Start to feel a little bit more like September. Mother Nature's got it all twisted. It feels more like July than August.
It's hot out there. Thank you, Mike. Next on WKYT, both presidential candidates are making the rounds, defending their campaigns again. Tuesday night's Mega Millions jackpot is $84 million. Wednesday night's Powerball jackpot is $154 million. Donald Trump's campaign team tried to clarify his positions on illegal immigration on the Sunday morning talk shows. Some questions still remain. CBS News correspondent Wendy Gillette reports from New York.
Donald Trump's campaign manager told John Dickerson on CBS's Face the Nation the Republican presidential nominee has not changed his stance on undocumented immigrants.
First, there is still no amnesty. Secondly, he's building that wall. That has been the centerpiece of his candidacy and his immigration vision from the beginning, and it has not changed 1 inch.
What has seemingly changed is Trump's position on what will happen to an estimated 11 million undocumented immigrants currently living in the U.S. Trump's original plan, laid out in November, called for a deportation force to help send them out of the country. But in recent days, his campaign team has talked about what they've called a more humane approach, though they say Trump's views have not shifted.
What you heard him describe there, in his usual plain-spoken American way, was a mechanism, not a policy. I mean, you're going to hear more detail in the next 2 weeks.
On the Democratic side, the chair of the party defended Hillary Clinton after Trump called her a bigot last week.
Donald Trump has not held an event in the black community. He has not gone to a black church, as Hillary Clinton has done.
The Democratic presidential nominee spent the day fundraising in the Hamptons. Trump held no public events. Wendy Gillette for CBS News, New York.
Clinton will continue fundraising in New York. Trump has a campaign event scheduled this week in New York City. After years of work, the first commercial flight will fly out of a Western Kentucky airport tomorrow. Airport staff, TSA agents, and builders prepared for the flights this weekend at the Bowling Green Warren County Regional Airport. They are teaming up with Contour Airlines and offering flights to Atlanta, Georgia, and Destin, Florida. The first commercial flight will take off to Atlanta at 1:15 tomorrow afternoon. A lot of families were at the Mount Sterling Montgomery County Airport today. Pilots hosted their 45th Aviation Day. The event gave dozens a chance to get up close and personal with planes. Kevin Cockrell has been involved with the event for years. He says the day is about more than just having fun.
Tremendous asset to the community, not just for general aviation, but it's an asset in recruiting and retaining corporate plants here.
The local Experimental Aircraft Association sponsored today's event. Money from some of the concession sales went to a local 4-H club. Jordan Smith fans are in luck. The Voice winner and Kentucky native has released some new tour dates. Smith tweeted this evening that he's added more stops to his Something Beautiful tour. One of his stops will bring him back to the bluegrass. Smith will be in Louisville at the Brown Theater October 25th. Tickets are already available for the concert. Prices start at $25. Lee Kay's in next with sports with Coach Cal out on the ball field.
Yeah, Calipari showed off his softball swing tonight, Kristen, but which former player had the best swing of them all? Find out next in sports. With Rupp Arena unavailable due to construction, John Calipari took his annual alumni game to the softball field this evening. Calipari, along with former Kentucky players, several pro athletes from other sports, and even a couple of actors got together on the field in front of a couple thousand fans at Whitaker Bank Ballpark tonight. Proceeds from the event going toward flood relief efforts in Louisiana. Now, one of the night's highlights was the Home Run Derby contest. That was won by Carl Anthony Towns. I mean, what can't the big cat do? Calipari loves having his former players back in town, even if sometimes he forgets their names.
It's nice. You got, some former players, some stars from here. They got ties to here. We got former players. You got Hall of Famers. So it's kind of neat having Aaron and Nerlens and those guys. Terrence Jones back, and
I'm Andrew.
What did I say? What did I say?
Aaron.
Did I say Aaron?
You said Aaron. It's okay,
I used to do it all the time. It's great to have you back. Wait a minute. Which one are you?
I'm Andrew.
Okay.
Good to see that. Earlier in the afternoon, Calipari and his current group of Wildcats teamed up with the Starkey Foundation to provide more than 75 patients from the Kentucky area with complimentary state-of-the-art digital hearing devices. The event, of course, put a lot of smiles on the faces of all those involved. An estimated $300,000 was raised during tonight's softball game for the Baton Rouge Relief Funds. Also this weekend, the Calipari Foundation announced it raised more than $1 million for 14 different charities through the John Calipari Fantasy Experience. Meanwhile, game week is finally here for the UK football team. Southern Miss will be in town on Saturday. The season will be the final one for senior wide receiver Ryan Timmons. The Franklin County product led UK with 45 receptions in 2014, but he managed only 12 receptions last season. Timmons is looking for a bounce-back senior year, and his position coach, Lamar Thomas, thinks he can do it.
Well, Timmons has no choice but to have that last hurrah great season. You know, this is it. Yeah. And that's the first thing I said to him. I said, unlike the rest of these guys out here, you can't get the day back. You know, these guys can say, oh, I'll get that day back next year. You can't. This is it. So every day you come out here, you got to strive to be better. This is a new year. This is your last year. Let's just go get it.
The Wildcats will enter the season with a stable of running backs, and offensive coordinator Eddie Grant has said that he will play any number of running backs as long as they give the team a chance to win. So how will they split up the reps?
Right now, everybody's just going with the flow. So we're just going with the flow. But main thing is that coaches have been preaching that when we're not in, make sure that we get those mental reps from the sideline to make sure that we understand what's going on. So when we get in, we understand the game. So, like I said, everybody's done a great job of preparing and being where they need to be. And it's just fun just to know that we're here almost less than a week away from game time and what we've been working so hard for.
EKU will kick off its season next Saturday at Purdue. There are a lot of unknowns with this Colonels team this year, and of course a new head coach and 40 new players on the roster will do that. One of the veteran returners is senior wide receiver Devin Borders, who led EKU in receptions last season. He figures to have a big year for the Colonels.
Just showing the younger guys how to do it, the culture of the program, the tradition of the program, the history of the program, just showing them how we do things, what's acceptable, what's not acceptable, just getting everybody on the same page.
He's a big, tall, long receiver. I mean, he's 6'6", he's really tall. He's 220 pounds. He can go up and high point the ball. He's got a great vertical. He's very long, rangy. So we're excited about what he brings to the table.
Well, can you think of a better place to watch the Bengals' third preseason game than in a swimming pool inside Jacksonville's Everbank Stadium? That's pretty cool. Andy Dalton, he didn't need a pool to make a splash. He finds Giovanni Bernard on the Bengals' third offensive play for a touchdown. Dalton was 6 for 10, 77 yards in that touchdown. Early in the second, Jeremy Hill wins the foot race to the corner just inside the pylon. Bengals looked good early, but the Jaguars would get the win, 26-21. NFL season right upon us.
Crazy to think that, too.
Yeah, I mean, all football's here. This is, UK football week. Tomorrow we're going to talk to Mark Stoops. Official game week starts. The Wildcats play on Saturday. I mean, it has arrived. Say goodbye to summer, kids. It's over.
It is starting to feel like fall.
That's right.
We'll be right back with a final look at weather. You are still taking a look at storms.
You know, it's really been an active day today, and it's still not letting up just yet. Things are winding down, but we are still seeing rain on Defender, and we will see more of it tomorrow and Tuesday. So it started really on Saturday, ramped up today, and looks potentially like Monday and Tuesday we could be looking at even more thunderstorm development, more heat, and those low 90s, those will feel like the triple digits again tomorrow. Keep that water bottle close by.
And Kristen wants me to mow the lawn on either Wednesday or Thursday. I'm
hoping
there's more rain
what about
coming.
Tomorrow or Tuesday?
That looks way too rainy. Just look at Mike's forecast.
Friday. Hope you'll join our next crew starting at 4:30 in the morning. Have a good night.